All right, call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Evening, everyone. Start on the agenda. We have a presentation for the outdoor club from Rebecca Lee. Yeah, I'll give up. Leahy, there we go. And Eric Wright. Sorry.
Can we,
Absolutely, yep.
I'm good. Now that I made zoomed in more, I can read your last name.
No, not at all. Look at that. Works like a charm.
all right, thank you for having us here tonight and allowing us to tell you about the Outdoor Club. So just like kind of before we get started, just let us tell you guys about us. So I'm Eric Wright. I'm a fourth year earth science teacher, and all those years at Gloversville High School. I moved up here from Long Island, and one of the things that drew me to Gloversville is the Adirondacks, right? Love the outdoors, so when this opportunity came up, I jumped right on it.
I'm Rebecca Leahy. I'm also a Long Island native. Moved up here about 5 years ago to also be closer to the Adirondacks. This is my 5th year at Gloversville, and my 14th year teaching living environment biology, and this year the college bio class.
So, start off with our club's theme. So everything we do or plan to do for the outdoor club would fall into one of these 4 themes. And really, the club started not really as an idea between me and Rebecca. It was really a conversation that I was having with some Gloversville High School scholars. It really started with like the recreation piece of like there's nothing to do around here, right? Typical teenagers talking about there's nothing to do in my hometown, there's nothing to do. And really the conversation kind of went to like, well, what do you like to do? What's around? I told them what I like to do. And so we kind of thought about, well, wouldn't it be cool to have a club, the school, where we can go to different places and hike around. And, you know, we thought, well, we could do that, but it could be so much more than that too, right? And so we added a little bit of a community involvement piece, some environmental awareness, community appreciation, right? Because recreation is great, but really I think it goes right along with things like community appreciation, right? Where appreciating where we live, like I think Gloversville has so much to offer as far as like outdoors and things like that. Getting involved in the community, like so these kids that I was talking to, right? Not only is they said there's nothing to do, but also complaining about some of the things that they see in the community that they didn't like, right? So we started talking about, well, how can we help people? And some of the environmental issues that historically that have been around in Gloversville, and some of the things that persist in like the whole world today, right? And so that's what we're trying to do in the outdoor club in general. So what have we done so far? We started really last year.
Spring, May, June.
Yeah. Kind of conversation started around winter time, and I didn't do anything to get the club started. It wasn't me. A couple of students, Queen Medina, Roxanne Medina, 2 sisters. They put everything together. They put a presentation together. They went to Mrs. Lias. They said, this is what we want to do. And we got the ball rolling. Eventually we had a couple of meetings. And there was some really good interest for this club. We've had as many as 20 20 scholars show up to a meeting and say, hey, I want to join this club, I want to go hiking, I want to get involved, right? So last year, at the end of the school year, we did have a hike to Nine Corner Lake. We have another hike planned for next month to Cane Mountain. We've been doing rail trail cleanups. So as I think you guys know, rail trail cleanup is really a larger effort with the GTA. We've been joining that and helping clean up. We did one last year in June. We did another one in September. And we do have some pictures to share with you guys of what we've done. So this was our hike to Nine Corner Lake. Everyone had a lot of fun. And some shots from the rail trail cleanups last year and this year. And so some things that we want to accomplish, some short-term goals.
So we kind of have decided that we want to make sure that the kids are interested in what they're doing. So we sent out a survey to the kids to fill out to figure out what they wanted to do for activities. A lot of the kids want to do hiking, which Eric and I are interested in, and so it's an easy thing for us to do Saturday mornings. So our plan is to do 2 hikes in the fall, 2 hikes in the spring, get that done before hunting season and the snow falls. One of the things the kids have shown interest in too is the rail trail cleanup, helping Gloversville become clean and more beautiful. And then one of the ideas that the kids had was doing some snowshoeing. So we know that the phys ed department has the snowshoes, and we had gotten word at the middle school from science teachers that there was a nature path that used to be used that hasn't been used in a few years. So Eric and I went out there and didn't get too far because we didn't really have adequate footwear, but we checked it out. So one of our goals this year is to get that maintained again and have the kids be able to use that for hikes after school and then potentially snowshoeing in the winter. Since our activities in the winter might be a little smaller, some of the kids decided that they'd want to go bowling or maybe even snow tubing at West Mountain. So those are just some ideas that we'd like to be able to do. Some of our longer term goals are to really get that Gloversville Nature Trail functional again, get the kids to be able to use that. One of the things that 2 of my students have noticed is that the recycling program at the high school, specifically, not all rooms have recycling bins. There's not a lot of places for paper specifically. So we'd like to get that rolling at some point, but that's something that we're gonna probably push off a little bit. Eric and I have volunteered with the backpack program, so we'd like to get the kids involved in doing some fundraising and hoping that money can get either put towards the backpack program or local food banks. And eventually we'd like to get involved at the city level with parents in the community and scholars involved in rail trail cleanup and more of the ecological environmental awareness for the city.
Yeah, so thanks for listening, and if you have any questions, we'll take them. We also included emails and room numbers, so if there's any scholars out there watching that want to join, stop by our rooms. You can also shoot us emails if you have questions. Thanks.
I got
Yeah.
a couple things. The Cane Mountain hike is
Yeah.
when?
So we don't, it's tentative. Right now, we have a date of October 21st for that, which is a Saturday. So we're planning our hikes for Saturdays because it's hard to get there, like, you know, after school, and it's getting dark a little earlier. So yeah.
Are you familiar with Blaze Orange?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's opening day of deer season in the Adirondacks, so that would cover that area.
Yep.
So that'd be pretty important. The other thing is DEC and our local forest ranger. They'd probably be a good resource as far as, like, you know, trail cleanups and different things that you want to do. So
Okay.
I'd
Good to know.
recommend getting hold of them. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
The nature trail on this campus here, have you looked at like what we need to try to get that back?
Well, we just kind of peeked in. I would think, like, there's still a trail that's blazed there. It's just kind of overgrown a little bit. I think probably the work of some adults like me and Rebecca would probably go in there and maybe trim the sides up, and maybe it needs a little bit of a mow. But besides that, it's probably ready to go. I think it's been used as, you know, a couple of years ago, right? And it's kind of gone into disrepair. We want to.
I know Jessica post-COVID, it just kind of, as most things got out of
Yeah.
schedule, so something that we'd want the scholars to get involved with. Once, Eric and I really need to go in there and see a little bit more investigating, and probably pants and boots instead of our flip-flops and shorts, just to see what it would require, yeah.
It's behind the lower fields.
It goes back behind the baseball field and it goes down towards.
Transportation.
Yeah, by transportation.
Transportation facility.
Okay.
It's been a hot one for a while. Any other questions?
On the hikes, transportation, is that, students go on their own, or is there, do we provide it? How does that work?
Last year we had the students, because the club was brand new last spring, so we had the students drive themselves. And this year Eric and I went to Miss Lias about getting a Suburban or a bus, and she said that would be available to us with enough notice that we would be able to transport 6 students in there, and if enough interest, if we're gonna gain that interest, that she could get us a bus as well.
Absolutely.
What are your plans for fundraising? Do you have anything in mind, or just kind of?
Yeah, that we're still really trying to get a lot of the students, scholars, to show up for a lot of the meetings. We've had, meetings where we've had 20 kids, and we've had meetings where we've had 3 kids, so we're still really trying to get a lot of the information out that the club is happening. One of our ideas was getting the bottle return and bringing those to Walmart and having the students recycle those and take those funds for part of the backpack program, but that's still in the early works.
Yeah, a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Are either one of you first aid trained?
Yes, I am.
I'm not.
Yep.
Okay. I think that would be important to do, especially for the hikes.
Yep.
And have I love the idea. I appreciate you guys
It's
putting it
great.
forward.
Absolutely. All right, cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Climb the tower, Kane, tell them to be careful. It's not the safest setup in the world.
Next item on the agenda is public comment. All right, move on. Next item after that, board discussion. We have the minutes from the September 5th meeting. Any questions on those? Motion to approve those. Vinnie, seconded by Kelly. All in favor? Anyway, we have to do those. Anything else for board discussion tonight? Moving right along, all right. Next item is the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. Don't have a long report. Before I start, I just want to say that on tonight's agenda is to accept the donation for $365 to the backpack program from Miss Mohawk Teen Princess Bottle Drive, Chloe Bronk. So thank you very much. We appreciate her hard work and donation to this important program. We're off to a good start in the school year across the district. There's a lot of different initiatives that are going on. The CKLA program at the elementary, obviously we've changed instructional time across the district, focus on communicating with the home, our social emotional work. So we appreciate our staff. Change is sometimes hard, but we appreciate the staff working hard to recognize the importance of what we're putting forth to try to meet the needs of our scholars across the district. The elementary, we have what's called Win Time, What I Need. I think Bernadette spoke about that at the last meeting. So a lot of change for our teaching staff and support staff, TAs and aides. Some of them are being asked to do things maybe they haven't in the past. So we understand that sometimes change can be difficult, but we are confident that we're moving in the right direction on all fronts that I just mentioned. And time's gonna prove that to be true. So we appreciate everybody's patience, and we know that the start of a school year is sometimes stressful, especially when there's a lot of change afoot. But we think that we are absolutely moving in the right direction on all those points. Osama's new newsletter just released last night. I want to thank Osama for his idea and putting that together, and obviously the administration for doing the videos. I think it's great to be able to highlight our open houses like you did, the events that are going on, like at the high school, the wellness day they had, the Sweethearts and Heroes that Boulevard had on Friday. There's a lot of great initiatives. It's an anti-bullying program that Mr. D. Pasquale brought in. I hope people are watching social media and seeing the great things happening in this district. Our scholars are engaged, not just in academics, but in lifelong lessons as well. So appreciate Osama's work in helping us illuminate that. We have a conference day coming this Friday, and I've asked Dr. Wojcicki to kind of lead you through a little bit on that. I think I sent it in the weekly update, but can answer any questions you have about this Friday conference day.
Did provide a hard copy for your review. It's a relatively robust day. I have to thank Bernadette Callender for her great help in putting this together, and the administrative team as a whole. We're also providing a couple of different Stop the Bleed trainings, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, led by Mike Etherton. That's our trauma response, unfortunately a necessary evil in our society. Working on some de-escalation techniques. That's our Handle with Care training that's facilitated by Jess Fielding as well as Amber Simons. We appreciate their willingness to facilitate that and lead their colleagues through that training. One of the key elements in the afternoon that we're really looking forward to is Dr. Dowdy coming from, he's the assistant superintendent at NARIC, and he'll be speaking with our department chairs regarding artificial intelligence and its use in our classrooms. We've talked about that a few different times thus far throughout the summer and the beginning of the school year. Definitely some uncharted territory for our scholars as well as our faculty and staff, but we look forward to seeing what can come of that and how it can be best utilized in the confines of our buildings and in our scholars' homes. So Mr. Dowdy, Dr. Dowdy, I should say, is definitely the right individual to lead that charge. He led a presentation that Superintendent Halloran was at back in the summer, and a lot of unknowns again with artificial intelligence, but if anyone's at the forefront, it's Dr. Dowdy. And again, along with our CKLA planning and looking at the curriculum that's associated with that, we're focusing on some the science of reading training with Dr. Lori Strong, who's worked with our elementary teachers for the last couple of years at this point in time, so happy to have her joining us again. And we have quite a bit for not only our faculty, but all our teachers, aides, and teaching assistants. So it's going to be a fruitful day. Any questions?
Any questions on Wednesday? Quick, if there's BOCES employees in the building, are they welcome, if they don't have anything going on in their own superintendent day, are they welcome to go to, like, most importantly, the Stop the Bleed training, or?
The Stop the Bleed is capped at 20 individuals per session, so if those folks could just reach out to me first to determine if we have any seats. Be happy to have folks join, yourself included, Mr. Salviano, if you wish. If you could just,
I would love to.
yeah, absolutely. If folks could just reach out to me directly and I can help determine if there's seats available. Thank you.
If we can't do it on that day, that's something we'd be happy to.
Yeah, most definitely.
I imagine it's coming down the line eventually, but.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question. Thanks.
You know, that, obviously, I want to thank Chris and Bernadette for their efforts in leading the professional developments. I talked about a lot of the change that's going on in the district and impacting our staff. You know, they're learning alongside their scholars. So I think the professional development that's been transpiring in the last few years is the best that I've seen, certainly in the 6 years I've been here. So I thank Dr. Wojcicki and Mrs. Callender for that. I hope the staff would agree. Most of the feedback that I hear is that is the case. So looking forward to a productive day on Friday. Just a couple other items for me. You know, we just left an audit that was looking at our registration process, and I think everybody's aware that Mrs. Bose is retiring in January. And speaking of AI, Chris and I and Kathy were sitting around, and I punched in her title, data coordinator / registrar, into ChatGPT, and the duties that it came up with are what I shared with you the other day. So that's amazing in seconds, and it pretty much matched exactly what we do here. It really was spot on. So if you're like, it's amazing what a tool AI is to help generate ideas, and something, especially at the secondary level, we're pushing our staff to utilize it because it's not going anywhere. And it's kind of short-sighted to ignore it and think it doesn't apply. If you're a teacher and you're just looking for ideas, use it. Certainly, we're using it. So that's what I shared with you in the weekly update, is that position. And you know, we definitely need to continue talking to the Board of Education about the data coordinator / registrar position, because it's evolved a lot. Mr. Vo's been in that position a while, and I think maybe we've kind of taken for granted just how much it's evolved. So that's something that we will continue to talk to the Board of Education about in the next few months, about, it might be very difficult to leave that position in the clerical unit, frankly, and to get a qualified person to do it. So that's something that we're going to try to get on the front end of and not wait till January till she leaves to try to figure this out. So that's going to be at the top of our priority list in the next few months to ensure that's a seamless transition to whomever comes into that position. The last thing I want to mention is I also shared with the board in the weekly update the memo from Commissioner Rosa about the use of biometric identifying technology in cameras. I've said in this boardroom before that our cameras do have the capacity to, it has facial recognition capabilities. But we do not have our cameras that have that capability hooked up to any database to personally identify people based on facial features. It also picks up clothing color. So nobody's walking in the building saying, oh, there's Dave Halloran, where's he going? Oh, that's what he's doing, because it's not hooked up into any data management system. So the company, Verkada, is telling us the technology you're using is not considered biometric identifying technology because it's not hooked up to a database. If we had it hooked up to our student management system and it tracked every kid based on their facial features, that would be different. We use it, obviously, because they're great cameras. And if you do want to see, say, like that person wearing the yellow and black shirt and jacket, the Bumblebee jacket, it would identify them at least by their color of their clothing. So that is not a misuse of that technology. I just want to put that out there, that our cameras are excellent cameras, like every other camera. They do have the capabilities. We do not utilize that feature. So I just want staff and parents and guardians and scholars to be aware that although our cameras could be hooked up to a system, we do not have it hooked up in that manner. So we are in compliance with the Commissioner's edict. And I will need an executive session to discuss a couple personnel items. And aside from that, Dr. Jeske and I are meeting with the administrators, started today. We're meeting with everybody, talking about goals. We had 5 meetings this morning, great conversations. Our administrative team, as I've said before, is in a great place right now. Very excited about the work that they and their teams are going to do in the buildings and departments in this school year. And that concludes my report. Any questions? Thank you.
No? All right. Next item is the student board member report.
Hi. So the most recent thing, homecoming, it was good. Everybody enjoyed it. Nothing really bad happened. Just, I don't know, just thought I would share that.
A lot of good things happen.
Yep. And then it's been mentioned, like the wellness day that we had last year, the fall fun day that we had on the past Friday. Also, it just time for students to have a break from school and everything. The sessions we had included like a lady with birds. There was like an owl and everything. She let us see them, taught us about them. There was the canine from the police department. Bit someone. I'm not going to go into details, but
Judge your character.
there was also the meeting in the auditorium, which included the whole student body. SLEZAC called it T-shirt time because some students would be picked to go up, answer a question, and if they got it correct or whatever, they would get a T-shirt. So that had a good participation within the whole school, really made everybody bond. And then my thing is the cap and gowns. We got our cap and gown packets for seniors. I did put some papers around. I only had 3 of them, I had to pass them around. It says that the one package, just the base cap, gown, and tassel, is $36. And my concern is that people won't be able to afford that. I've had experiences with like teammates for cheer shoes and stuff that were less than that, and they weren't able. And I was told that the school does buy around 30 of them for students that need them, or are in need. But there's obviously 175 or more students in each class, and I would like to see like the school pay for more cap and gowns for people, so they don't have to worry about not being able to get one.
Should be, donated all mine back,
Last year,
tall to be able to-
I mean, last year I donated 20, I paid for 20, and we had another family who paid for, was it 15 maybe? We had another, a lot of times the parents in the class will say, they'll reach out and say, are there kids that need them? Or the class funds can help offset them too. That's happened in the past.
Well, what I would say is, when it gets to that time, and there's an issue, then talk to us.
Right.
And try to figure it out, Sure, it's not gonna be an issue. Pretty sure we.
And there's always extras.
Yeah, and
Back
then
up.
the biggest thing with that for you, Brayden, would be, to be a voice in your class, right? Because you're probably gonna be a more comfortable person for somebody to share that information with. So if you hear that there are scholars that are struggling to pay for things like that, just never feel like you can't tell an adult so that we can take care of it. Because we're very fortunate that we would be able to take care of that for any kid that needed it. But we have to know first, because sometimes there's not always that comfort level if they don't wanna share. So, yeah, if you hear that, you just gotta let us know.
And we got a lot of resources on the state.
Right.
But if we don't know, we can't help.
Certainly don't want us to participate in graduation because we're concerned about that. Whatever mechanism it takes to make sure that we're aware.
Mrs. Smith is, in the office, is great about tracking who has it ordered, who doesn't. And a lot of times, we have a couple people that call every year and say, do you have kids that need cap and gown? Okay, I'll take 4, and they'll send money right to her. So no kid is gonna walk across that, everybody's gonna have one.
How many graduates did we have last year who didn't participate in the ceremony?
I did not participate, a handful, and none of them indicated it was because of lack of access.
My worry is that some of them wouldn't want to have pride or wouldn't embarrass about it, perhaps would say, I'm not going to participate because I don't want to stress the parents out or appear in need. It'd be great to make sure that that's never the case. I don't know how we do that.
When we also have caps and gowns that the scholars can borrow, so we always also offer that way. If they don't want to have somebody else purchase it, we can let them borrow it and then return it should they choose, or we let them keep it if they want to as well.
Great.
I'll have an extra one after this year too.
That's all. Thank you.
Good report. Thank you.
Any questions? All right, moving right along to recommended action. We have items 8.01 through 17.83. Any questions, comments, need anything pulled? No? Motion to approve by John, seconded by Kevin. All in favor? All right, and then motion for executive session, discuss personnel items by Kelly, seconded by Heath. All in favor? All right, there'll be no action taken afterwards. Have a good night.